So when I was in class Thursday night, I did my piece on my best friend in synagogue telling me on Sabbath morning, "We will never accept you." And then...
Did it have extra weight that he told you on the Sabbath?
Well, that's when we're most intimate, because we have fewer distractions. Because we don't have cell phones, we don't have technology.
So that's a really important point to add.
It's like we've got nothing but each other for 25 hours.
So then it makes it even grander, the potency of that.
So then, the Rebbitzin commented to me via Facebook this past week. He didn't mean we will never accept you. He meant we will never accept you as long as you insist on throwing dirty stones into the well from which you drink. And he said you should choose this guy to be your spiritual advisor, because he seems really tuned in to what's going on with you. And so instead of posting all this crazy stuff on Facebook and on your blog, like, why don't you call this guy up and tell him what's going on and get his feedback on how you can best serve God. And then Thursday night in class, someone in the class said to me, it's really interesting that on the one hand you say, here I stand, I can do no other, so help me God. Here I stand in Orthodox Judaism, I will not be moved from Orthodox Judaism. On the other hand, you do everything you can to sabotage your place in Orthodox Judaism. So I just want to do an improv on do I do everything I can to sabotage my place in Orthodox Judaism, or what's behind that? I want to understand that, because that's what everyone else gets from my story. When I tell them my story, they say, why do you do everything you can to sabotage the place in Orthodox Judaism?
Does that feel like your truth?
No.
Okay. What's your truth about it?
My truth about it is that I want to pack everything into my life that I can. And if it contradicts Orthodox Judaism, I'll live with the consequences.
And did that only come to fruition because of the illness, or did you have that before?
It came into intensity because of the illness. Okay. Yeah.
So life is short versus Orthodox Judaism.
Yeah, like life is short. I want to direct one porn movie, so I directed one porn movie. I really wanted to direct one porn movie. And I did it in 1996, and never did any more. I just wanted to direct one.
So was it a dream come true?
Yeah, it was a dream come true.
Okay.
It was fantastic.
And then what was the next thing on the list?
Sleep with a lot of women. I mean, that was huge. So I got to do that.
And
Jewish, non-Jewish. Red and
I'll
yellow.
let you keep going with
Yeah, red and yellow, black and white. I wanted to just really experience that because I had so many years of illness where I was just basically bedridden and not experiencing life. And this is the part of life that I love most. It's not just...
And what makes you want to be an Orthodox Jew?
Number one, because I believe that in the final analysis, God is the author of it.
And why, and therefore...
Well, that's powerful. When you believe that God is the author of what you're doing and what you're studying, there's a power and a passion and intensity to that is not available elsewhere. Like when...
And how do you experience that? And when?
Well, I used to experience it a lot easier before I got this reputation of having made a porn movie. Before I dirtied the waters of my own well. Like when I came into Orthodox Judaism, it was this exciting, warm, passionate, loving place where people were throwing open their homes and inviting you over for Sabbath meals and holiday meals and vigorous, open discussions, and there wasn't technology getting in the way.
But what was it about Orthodox Judaism? Because that's community.
Well, there's just a whole different level of community in Orthodox Judaism that I've not experienced anywhere else. For instance, on the Sabbath, there's no technological barriers. You go to someone's house in Orthodox Judaism on the Sabbath, there's no cell phones ringing, there's no television on, there's no music playing, there's nothing for you to go out and do. You know, your kids aren't playing Little League, you don't have work. Like, you have 25 hours of sacred space, so that creates an intimacy of human connection that I've not found outside of that.
And did this seem like getting another chance at childhood, all the things that you missed?
Yeah, like I grew up in an emotionally cold home.
But in a very Orthodox home, Seventh-day Adventist.
Seventh-day Adventist Orthodox, yeah. So,
where there was no music 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
No dancing.
Yeah, no dancing. So I grew up a Seventh-day Adventist preacher's kid. So my dad's an emotional cripple from.
But did it seem like, all the things that I never got, that I was deprived of?
Yeah, because I knew there was a lot magnificent about my childhood. Because we had the Sabbath too. And I grew up on college, Seventh-day Adventist college campuses, so there was great intellectual life as well. And all my father's friends were intellectuals. So we'd have PhDs coming over to talk about literature and philosophy.
And would you be included or just listen? Or were you allowed to even be there?
I was allowed to be there. I'd be included on a very limited basis. I was very well read. I was incredibly stimulated. I loved that.
Okay, so you didn't feel left out. You felt like you were privy to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew there was much magnificent about my Seventh-day Adventist upbringing, but I also knew it was not the way I wanted to walk. So I found in Orthodox Judaism all the magnificence that I had in my Seventh-day Adventist upbringing, though without the emotional resonance of having spent your childhood there. So that's like when you interact with people after you've spent your whole lives with them, there's a whole much more emotional depth and richness to just meeting people for the first time. So that I could not carry over. Like everything from my childhood was now, there's nothing that I could really carry over in Orthodox Judaism, because Orthodox Judaism would kind of reject the Goyish world.
So what do you, or tell me if this is even applicable, God's reaction to you making a porn movie, or would that not be something that you consider?
Yeah, that's applicable, because like there are a lot of prostitutes in the Bible, and they're all spoken.
So what was your interpretation of that with your devotion and beliefs?
I was just like devoted people in the Bible that weren't prostitutes. So if it's not
so
true.
It was more in alignment for you.
Yeah, not for anyone else. I mean, I didn't think that what I was doing was good. I just thought I could get away. It was okay to do it once.
Wait, you were about to say that I could get away with it.
Yeah, I did about to say I could
And
get away
so,
with it.
did you think nobody would find out?
No, I knew they'd find out.
How would they find out?
Because I'd read about it.
Okay, so it's the murderer confessing.
Yeah.
And then was there something noble in that? I'm not hiding it? Tell me about the logic.
Well, the logic is inside of me and greater than my conscious will, in that I have to reveal pretty much everything.
Why?
Because my parents raised me with the Bible verse, "Be sure your sins will find you out."
Say that again.
My parents raised me with the Bible verse, "Be sure your sins will find you out." So from the time I was a very small child, I always
So it was an obligation.
It was a cosmic truth. Your sins will always find you out.
But you would help that along.
And so when I would feel, I would always confess.
Yes.
And I would always confess to my mother,
Was there
and to my father.
Did you get redemption?
Well, yeah, usually if I would go and confess, I wouldn't get punished.
Okay, and then what did you think the consequences were about making the porn movie?
I didn't think. It was just something I had to do and then live with whatever the consequences were.
And so what did you think the consequences would be?
I had the feeling that I was on boats that were about to collide, and there was just going to be this horrible collision, and that I would be right in the middle of these two boats that would be, it was just going to destroy me.
Was there a propensity for drama? How do you?
Yes, I'm a drama queen. Yes.
and no judgment with it.
No, I'm not judging it. I am a drama queen.
But with the drama, then what would happen because of that? Or was that trying to work out those two parts of you and not being able to control either?
Yeah, it was like working out the two parts of me, because the people who went to synagogue with me, when they saw the movie, they got it.
What do you mean they got it?
Well, I showed up in the movie in the same suit that I wore to synagogue.
Yes.
And I sat there as these people were having sex.
And so, also, what were you communicating? What were you wanting to say then about who you were in your religion by doing that?
Okay.
Because there's an irreverence.
Okay, yeah. So let me stop questions for 2 minutes and just explore this. So when I made my porn movie, I was like exploring an idea. Like, what do women want?
Okay.
Like, what is...
Did you think you were helping Freud? Okay.
And so while I'm making the porn movie, I'm interviewing the people as they're having sex. And I'm...
So did you look at it as a porn documentary?
It is documentary style or pseudo-documentary. Okay. So I wanted to explore this, what was it like to be able to ask a woman to give this guy a blowjob? Right. Unbelievable. And then to ask, these two other guys to join in. Okay. And the power of that, and to I could...
So, and you said the power before about God. So, were they parallel? The reason that you picked Orthodox Judaism?
Well, they're parallel in the sense that I want to tap into the most primal, powerful forces in the universe. And so, being asked to command people to perform sex acts on other people is just godlike. It's just the most amazing power that I've ever, I've only experienced it once, but it's absolutely intoxicating.
So was it hard not to want to do another one?
Yeah, luckily I managed to make it so bad that nobody would buy it.
Oh, so otherwise you would have?
Probably. Now my rationalization is I only made one.
Right.
But if I'd done any good, I would have made tons. But now I say,
so
I only made one.
Financially
it was horrible. It was just the worst porn movie ever.
So again, just to notice, and again, no judgment, but we all do this to make sense and to survive, that you started the posit with, well, this was a dream and I just did it once. And so that rationalization and then finding out it was only because of circumstances.
Yeah, and I shot the introduction after all the sex scenes.
And do you think it was ahead of its time?
Yeah, because
So do you think now it might be a big hit? This was before reality TV, right? It was really big.
This is my movie. I called my movie "What Women Want,"
right? And
I shot it in January 1996.
Okay, so it was way. Okay, so it was the beginning of MTV, whatever that thing.
But in 1999, Mel Gibson made this huge movie, "What Women Want."
Yeah.
No one had ever made anything called "What Women Want" prior to me.
Yeah. So is there a part of you that thinks, "Oh my God, it would be such a big hit now. I should re-release it"?
No, it's crap. But it was really interesting. I shot the introduction where I gave the philosophical justification for what the viewers were about to watch, because it was an exploration.
And did you think that the viewers needed that, or that just was your aesthetic?
That was my aesthetic. That's what I needed to do. Everyone.
And who were you making it for? Who was your audience?
Me. All my stories.
Orthodox men?
No, me. I did, all of the things I write and all the things I say, they're for me.
But this was a
I don't give a
commercial
fuck
venture.
about the audience. Yeah, I got money, but I didn't care about myself.
Okay.
So everyone from my synagogue who watched it got it.
Wait, what do you mean everyone from your synagogue?
I would hand down copies to my friends in synagogue.
You go to shul and hand this out?
So you gave it to men?
Yeah, and also
And did
some
you ask
women.
them if they wanted to see it first?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Would you do it before the sermon or after? Or I guess sermon is Christian. Before or
This-
after?
before
Was this
after
on the
service.
Sabbath?
Yeah, it was on the Sabbath.
Okay.
It was usually like after synagogue.
And was it, brown paper bag or what was on the...
Sometimes, but sometimes I just like hand it to him directly.
Wow.
And they said, oh, I want to see it?
Yeah,
And
I think so.
were
I
you
mean, I
charging
made
them?
no. I gave it to them. It was a gift. It was a free
It was
gift.
a gift,
It was like
yes.
salvation.
Okay, and did
It's
you
like
give it
the
to any
most
women?
beautiful- Yeah, I did. I'm
they
not
asked?
sure. I'm not sure if I gave it to any women, but one woman got it, and when we got into a fight
About what?
about my writing on Dennis
Okay.
Prager,
Oh.
where we got into a fight, she wrote, Mr. Ford never presented me with any journalistic credentials except for a copy of his porn movie, which I turned off after watching for 5 minutes. So it immediately became the sword that people would use to...
And what was the feedback you got?
Everyone who watched it who knew me got it, because it was like... It was.
But did you get
classic.
good feedback?
Yeah, they found it amusing.
Okay.
They found it amusing. Because it was like, I was like the same guy that they saw in synagogue. Except I was talking to the people who were having sex.
So, we just have a couple of minutes left. Any thoughts, reactions to the self-sabotage statement? Or where does that take you?
Yeah, it's hard for me because I just see it as me cramming as much into life as possible. But everyone else sees it as self-sabotage.
And then what do you do with that?
Well, I try to understand it. Well, yeah, I just try to understand it.
Well, no. I would question, does everybody see it as self-sabotage?
A lot of people
community-
see
But
it
the
as
community that you're in, it's just that they are rejecting you because of it and finding it blasphemous.
Yeah, but like people who aren't Orthodox Jews are like appalled that I would do this while trying to be a part of Orthodox Judaism. They see it as self-sabotage. Like,
Okay.
so
And so
everyone,
what do you-
it seems like so many people that see it as
And so what are
self-sabotage.
you going to do with it?
And I see it as just cramming into life, just like being really
But what are the
passionate.
repercussions? What are the repercussions?
Oh, the repercussions are that, immediately half the female population, will not marry me, or date me, or sleep with me.
And so what's really at stake?
I'm the porn guy.
So what's really at stake for you, and what wins out? What is the most important value?
Well, the most important value is Orthodox Judaism, but making a porn movie wasn't that far removed.
No, but if you're an Orthodox Jew, you have to marry an Orthodox woman.
Yeah.
So that's completely putting that at risk.
Yeah, yeah. So 90% of Orthodox women, would not marry me.
And so now what? What is he going to do? And is he hoping to be forgiven from that? He only made one. What is he seeking now from the community?
I want acceptance.
And how is he going about getting that?
I'm writing about my eroticized rage on my blog.
So he's hoping that that will give understanding to everybody?
Yeah, but I'm also indulging in it by writing about it.
So what does he really want?
He really wants to cram as much into life as possible.
And so he's willing to whatever will be lost because of that.
Yeah, but then he doesn't like the consequences, and then he says, okay, going forward, no more porn movies. No more this, no more that, no more that. Okay, no more this, and this, because the consequences are too painful.
Right. So what do you think will happen to him?
Well,
You look at him as a character.
he'll always be the odd man out.
And do you see happy ending? What's the best case scenario, worst case scenario?
Oh God. Oh God. Happy ending.
And it could be a gray.
I have a hard time seeing a happy ending. I have a hard time seeing a happy ending.
Because
I feel like the things that happen in those those 4 years of life, I'd say I've been unable to overcome. So like there's so much rage. Come in.
Hi.
Join the show.
Do you need something? That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. So the nap becomes impossible to overcome.
I often fear that it's impossible to overcome.
So it's not about anything that came afterwards.
Yeah, those are all manifestations of the rage that got happened in those 4 years.
This is the Beyond Baruch office, but I think it's locked. Yeah.
Please continue what you're
Okay. We wish we could be downstairs with you. We're telling stories about our life up here.
Okay, that's wonderful. Please continue.
Okay.
So yeah, I often lay awake at night, can't sleep because I see I'm in the grip of reactions that are stronger than my conscious will.
Okay. Okay. So really epic, dramatic conflict, and you see and feel the pain of the character. And then structurally, how wonderful that these opposing forces are so destined to crash. And then what you do. This is Shakespeare. This is awful.
This is big stuff. The split between sexuality and spirituality, that dichotomy, has driven Western civilization insane for 2,000 years. And you're putting yourself in the electrical bolts on either side and going, why am I getting shot?
So, what did you discover? Anything that got confirmed?
I'm sure there is, and when I watch the video.
Okay. Okay. And would you like any questions directed?
Yeah,
to
questions,
us?
what you'd like to know more about, what takes your head.
Okay. All right.
I'm so taken in by the ditto to what Terry said about this incredible sort of like living this life that you've obviously lived in detail and so many experiences, but still in such conflict about it. Like, that's so amazing to watch, and that you're honest about it. And but also two things that really struck me. At one point you said that you wanted acceptance, but then you also said that you don't care what the audience thinks at all. So I thought that to me was really interesting. That
Paradox.
Yeah, it was really, that was really like powerful for me. And also the thing about your sins, your mother saying your sins will find you out, or your parents, and just me wondering how much that structures in the way you live your life now, that you just are pushing the boundaries always, because you said when you told your mother, then it was fine. If you revealed your sins, it was fine. So I'm wondering if that's still something that you live with.
A really good narrative trap, because then it does get worse and worse. And now his version of confessing to the mother, is writing the blog, is confessing, and then it doesn't turn out the way it did in his childhood. And yet he's compelled both ways to act on what he wants, hoping for redemption, and now he doesn't get it. And then also just the almost dark comedy, he could have made a porn movie, used a different name, whatever. No, I will write about it, I will make, and I will pass it out in school. Yeah, so just such a wonderful dichotomy.
Yeah.
I hide nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments?
One thing in relation to what you're passing on the porn movie, are they allowed to watch porn, or do they all kind of sacrilege?
That's a good question. Okay. All
I'm curious to know that.
right. Are you bringing them to Donkey Island?
I also was interested in what Nicole said about, you said you don't care about the audience, yet you want acceptance of yourself. When you were talking about Sabbath and you talked about the intimacy of the human connection, there was kind of a reverence about it. for you. And I wondered if you have that in other places in your life or not, and what place that has in your life. Do you try to cram more of that? Do you try to get more of that in your life? I don't cram intimacy and human connection. I don't like the way that sounds. But, and you said that there was a time when people opened their homes and welcomed you in. And it was the porn movie that changed that. And I wondered how you responded or reacted to that changing. I was really taken by it. A lot of the things you said, like you're in a grip. And you said you get in the grip of reactions stronger than conscious will. And I wondered what, in the grip of reactions to your child, what happened in childhood or to other things. Yeah, it's a lot.
And trying to have it both ways. And so is there a split or a schism that happens? No, I really, really want this. It's important. And then does he just kind of dismiss the other part? I just want to know how he navigates through it, or does one part get turned off in order for him to pursue this? And I know probably some of it is going on in the unconscious. And then is he surprised about the repercussions? Or does he feel like that's part of the penance? I'm willing to take this risk because this is who I am. And that thing of almost getting everything he always wanted and then doing the thing that's going to stop that. Love, food, connection, family. And I don't want to get too psychological, because I know also that makes it not active, but I just wonder, is there a part of him, unconscious or the self-sabotage, because he doesn't think he deserves it? I don't know. And then what is that like to lose that thing that he so desperately wanted? Being accepted, being loved. And then that moment when I posed, what do you think will happen to him? Will there be that happy ending? And just how gripping that moment was of just watching him consider that. So, I've been saying this a lot this week, how powerful the silence is. It's not about the answers, it's when we watch the character grappling with the questions. All right. Who'd like to posture next?
You keep saying this one fallback or metaphor is, I just want to cram as much experience into my life.
Yeah.
And I'd like you to look at that. I'd like to know what's on the other side. And then what will happen? Will there be a transformation? Will the cocoon become the butterfly? What will happen if that happens? What does that really mean for you?
Okay, so really engaging, really delving. Okay, and I just feel like now you're really starting to find the focus of it and just asking really good questions. Okay. Who wants to go next? Would you like to go?